Welcome to Syncreate, a show where we explore the intersections between creativity, psychology, and spirituality. We believe everyone has the capacity to create. Our goal is to demystify the process and expand the boundaries of what it means to be creative. I'm Melinda Rothouse, and I help individuals and organizations bring their dreams and visions to life.
And I'm Charlotte Gulick. I'm a writer, educator, and writing coach. We're the co-authors of a book on the creative process, also called Syncreate.
At Syncreate, we're here to support your creative endeavors. So if you have an idea for a project or a new venture, please reach out to us for one-on-one coaching or join our Syncreate 2024 6-month coaching group starting in July. This virtual 6-month coaching group will guide you through the journey of creativity in order to move from start to finish on a creative project.
Join us for accountability, community, and fun. We're offering a 10% discount on the coaching series if you mentioned this podcast. You can find more information on our website, syncreate.org, where you can also find all of our podcast episodes.
Hi, everyone. We're back. Melinda and Charlotte here. So what we're going to be talking about in this Creative Spark episode today is the vulnerability of sharing work, even if you know it's not quite ready to see the light of day. So we all need to share our work in progress, oftentimes, to get feedback in order to know how we can improve and continue to shape the work. Again, this may depend on what medium you're working in, but certainly in writing. I find in music that it's really helpful for me to share my ideas in progress and, see how it lands with other people. So I think this really spans across different types of work, but it can be really challenging to put it out there, and it can feel very tentative, very vulnerable to share something that you know is not yet fully baked.
So we're thinking about, why is this important? And I think a lot of people come into the creative process because they want to be known and they want to explore and they want to express themselves. And part of sharing our work with others is that it's a connection to that thing that might have been an impulse for us to start. And I don't think there's a single thing in the world that gets made that doesn't have some kind of feedback loop in it. Even that's ourselves taking some time away. And what we want to focus on today is, how do we navigate that feeling of, I know it's not as good as I want it to be, and I need some help to figure out how to get it better, but I don't want the person to think that this is as good as I can do.
Right.
Like, it's really tricky.
Right.
And then and when I was teaching, I would say to students, I know that you know that I know that this isn't as good as you want it to be. Kind of lower the stakes for ourselves.
So we're all on the same page.
Yeah. Like, I know this is, because no one does like their best work on a first go. And so I have a friend who is working on a really important, powerful novel that deals with religion, and he's asked me to read it, but he hasn't yet sent it to me because he's like, it's not as good as I want it to be for you to see it. And I'm like, hey, I'll still think that you're a writer. I'll still think that you are a fine person and a creative, that we can hold it together, the vulnerability of it finding its way. And, I think it's really important to know that what you're navigating within yourself. You're like, I do want to share it with someone else, but I'm not sure if I'm ready. And I think that you're tuning in, because we can also sabotage. I have done this before. I've shown a piece to people, particularly family. And when I'm writing about family, and that's not neutral feedback at all.
No.
From family, you're like, oh, okay, I guess that shouldn't have done that. I know someone who had wanted to write a novel, for a very long time, and her sister-in-law made a comment to her, and she didn't write for 2 more years because of the power of that comment. And so, there's all these layers of psychology, vulnerability, expression, the impulse to be known that we're navigating. And a lot of this, I think, is about tuning in with yourself. And I think it doesn't matter your medium if you take some time to navigate to what's underneath probably likely it's fear.
Mhm.
And who is someone that can help me grow as an artist and I still feel safe?
Yes. And oftentimes even the work in progress is better than we think it is. We might think, "Oh, this is crap," or whatever, you know, and then we actually dust it off, like, we go away from it for a little bit, we come back and we go, "Oh, that's actually pretty good." So sometimes when we're so close to it, we can't quite see it objectively. And another way to do this, if you're concerned, like, of sharing with someone who's working in your same medium, maybe try sharing with somebody who's working in a different medium, who maybe understands the creative process, but they're not going to judge you for your craft, because they're working in a different area. So that could be a workaround. So, our pro tip today, we really want to challenge you to identify at least one trusted person that you can share your work in progress with and receive their feedback. And just a note on that, there's an art to both giving and receiving feedback. And so when we're giving feedback to others, recognizing the vulnerability of that, it's helpful to be, as constructive as possible, and saying, well, these things are working really well. Here's a place where it's not quite coming across to me, or I'm not quite understanding, or there's, a little bit of a gap here, or this is a growth area. And then there's also an art to receiving the feedback, like with an open, generous heart, acknowledging that someone has taken the time to look at your work and give you thoughtful, constructive feedback. And so, it's about sort of receiving it without reactivity or defensiveness, just kind of taking it in with the understanding that, the goal is to make the work the best it can be.
I think one thing I would add to that pro tip is saying what you said in just another way, is asking for pieces of feedback or
Three
something very
pizzas of
three
feedback.
three pieces of feedback. That's how good it is. Three pieces of feedback, or like you were saying, like thinking about, like, I know that the dialogue is so great, or in my dance recital that I have, I'm not quite sure about the finish. Like, asking for specific and precise feedback is probably more empowering than like a generalization. I liked it. That doesn't help us focus in the way that we might want to grow.
Yeah. So when people send me work to review, I often ask them to specify, what do you think is working well? What are you struggling with? How can I best support you? Like, tell me what to focus on, and then I can give you the most constructive feedback. So, great.
Find and connect with us on YouTube and social media under Syncreate, and we're now on Patreon as well. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and leave us a review.
And we're recording today at Record ATX Studios in Austin, Texas, with Charlotte joining us from the Hudson Valley. And the podcast is produced in collaboration with Mike Osborne at 14th Street Studios. Thanks so much for being with us, and see you next time.